Blessings, hello, and good morning to you all. I am the one and only Mr. LP, Stephen Sykes of Live and Global Media. I want to say thank you very much to you all for joining us today. Today is a great and wonderful day. First and foremost, I know many people have been having a hard time with so much going on out there, supply chains, health, COVID. I'm still getting through different various parts of it, but it's been a wonderful day because if you are here with me, that means that your eyes are open, you can hear something. And I'm very grateful for your time. Today is going to be a good day for the fact that we are going to have a positive and wonderful discussion today on about an event. And this will be a very prosperous event. And the reason why we need to have this event is 2019, 2020 has been very difficult for many people. And we've been just all been just doing the best that we can. And I can understand that it can be a very difficult thing and feeling, and especially for small businesses, churches, nonprofits, solopreneurs, all these different things out there. Because to be quite honest, small business is a majority of our economy here in the U.S. and a lot of other places going further. So we have to do what we can to make things happen. But now this got us to think, and I said, this is where we really need to take the opportunity to help other businesses, help people get along, help people find ways because people are having a hard time out there. And they all just been doing the best that we can. So now this is where the opportunity comes forward when we get to say, hey, what can we do? So this is where various wonderful people and I have come up with a program that we call From Best to Success. And this is why, again, I want to keep mentioning a few times because I want people to run the analogy in your head because we've been doing the best as we can. But as 2022 comes along in the future, we want to go ahead and make it the best year possible and so much more. And now we're going to offer various tips, tricks, ideas, um, programs, whole bunch of different things. And this is going to be a very highly interactive workshop. This event will be on October 28th at the Victory Theater here in Richmond, Virginia. And will be from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Food will be provided, lunch will be provided, and we're going to have some more other different wonderful things for you. So we're going to make this happen. We have three great speakers of ours. Well, we will have five, including our host. But we're going to have three of the speakers today to try to help remind people, give you some ideas of things that's going to come along. And they will be along shortly. But I wanted to start off with this and have a positive conversation on different things that we can do for business. Now, first and foremost, with business, one of the things that I'm highly involved in is with social media marketing, business preps, and things. And people always come up with the idea or have some ideas regarding what it should be or what does social media look like, what does the engagement look like, and also what can I do to improve? Well, that's where I'm here for you. And one of the things I want people to understand as we go on to this, and I say this all the time, I know that some people are not necessarily perfect people, and they just do the work. And I understand that some people may not like to talk and have all these other different things. But what has to happen is that you have to engage with people, not just digitally, but also in person. Now, unless you have tons of people working with you, starting off the top, a brand ambassador, communication people, whatever the situation would be. And if you have that available and all those wonderful resources, great, proud of you. But most people don't. And so you have to be the first one up. And no one can explain the business better than you as the person who's starting it, founding it, making everything happen from front end to the back. So this is where it's very important that you have to be willing to talk and be in front of people. Now, there's some self work that needs to be done. Okay, let's get that clear. If you're not, again, able to talk, let's work on yourself. What about public speaking worries you? What about public speaking has you concerned about it? Are you concerned about your image? Are you concerned about how you sound? All these things, and quite honestly, there's nothing wrong with you. whether you sound different, look a certain way, nothing like that. It's the message. At the end of the day, real people, real business people, real consumers are going to be concerned about the message and the positivity that you are looking to offer. That's one. Two, if you have trouble with speaking, if you have some form of impediment, if you have some other ideas how speaking should go, and you want to make sure that you have the right terms, you're using the right words, the right analogies, everything else that goes along with it, then I highly recommend taking a speaking class. I know there's in different areas that were Toastmasters at one point. I'm not sure how they are going with that pandemic, and but there's a bunch of different speaking courses online. YouTube resources are all over the world, so please utilize those resources before you start to go forward and say, hey, I'm going to do what I can and with that and go forward speaking. So those things are very important. Now let's move on to how can we make social media a little bit more engaging. Okay, first off, let's talk about your topics. Okay, not just the brand, meaning your business. Let's talk about the topic. How many? There's so many different situations that come up in association with your topic that is very often not talked about. For example, let's say we're talking about maybe lotions or hand sanitizers or some type of cleaning device, nail kits, things like that. But we talk about, you may be selling items related to that. But let's talk about the different elements that you work with the hands. How many times we talk about the keyboards and the number of germs that's within the number on a keyboard all day long, or how we utilize our hand, how to exercise our hand, how to put different pressure points, all these different things that can be related to your topic. And that's where you can have the opportunity to educate your clients. You have the opportunity to educate your possible consumers. You have the opportunity to even educate yourself. And you never know who's listening. And these type of things are important because that person that you're looking to sell your product or services can have a positive feeling that not only they're getting the item, but they're getting something else with it, some other tangible resources that you can take home with you. Those things are very important when you're sitting there and trying to figure out how to talk about your topic. Another thing that you can go is about have a question and answer session. I think these things are very important to have. Question and answers it allows you to also get more feedback regarding your products and services, real honest live feedback, real world situations. Sometimes people may have questions that's associated with your brand and want to see how it can apply in their life or situation. So that's very important. So please ensure that that you can have a question and answer session, and also when you're hosting these sessions, depending on the format, always try to have it brief. Encourage your audience to make it brief, so then that way the questions, so then everybody you can fill in as many questions as possible, given a time limit. Also encourage people to uh, keep their answers or questions short. So all these different things align with it, and sit back, look at other question and answer sessions in relation to your product and services. See how they are handling it and see if it's something that you can do, how it can be modified to work for what you're doing. And also, it will prepare you for similar related questions that you may receive and towards your products and services as well. And you have a better answer for it. Maybe not sound robotic, obviously, but you want to make sure that you have a good answer, thought provoking, adding resources, citations, whatever the situation may be. So you want to make sure that you have that MB look your, uh, the person who's asking the question, ask, look them in the eye, respond, and also take the time out to email that person back, send them a message, whatever tool in social media, or if you have something live in person, thank the person, thank the client, thank the personal customer. You're not just doing it because, hey, you want to sound good and maybe somebody else can buy because I said thank you. No, you want to say thank you For one, is offering good positive energy and spirit in your soul and for your business. That's the main thing. I've learned over the years that people are not necessarily all the time about your products and services. It's about how you relate to them. How do you speak to them? There are many places, to be honest, where we're going out to eat and the food may not be the best all the time. But why do we go back all the time? Because we look for the service. Not so much about the food, definitely not so much about the price. And in reality, if you are very satisfied regarding anything, people are always going to come back regardless of the price, as long as you're not abusing that warm and good feelings. So you want to do that. You also want to build relations in your engagement, and with that, that long brings in other people's content. For example, I've been blessed. God, Lord knows, I've been blessed with the wonderful opportunity to work with a lot of different businesses and organizations over the years. In particular, I'll use one, Shoe Crazy Wine, and also Edibles by Lisa. So for with those brands, obviously, I work with them in social media aspects and different relations with it. But at the same time, I'm able to share the content related because it can show off the work that I have done and also introduces my audience to them and their audience to me. And when you have those positive relationships, it builds trust, not just in your brand, but in everybody else. And it shows within the community, within your business niche, that you have taken the effort to build positive relationships with other people, not just so you can sell something, because to be honest, the sale will come. What you're looking for is to build a positive relationships with other people and also anything related to your content. I work with other people who are also content creators, social media marketing, business mentors, coaches, and things like that. And we work all the time. Well, 20 last couple of years, obviously a pandemic. But what we have to do a lot of time is we do what we can and work with each other. So then we can share those ideas, those tips. Hey, maybe we could say it a different way. Not necessarily trying to tell you what to do, but there's always a different way. And take stock of the information and see what could be done and how it could be applied later. You never know. Take notes. So that's something that's very important. Another thing that you want to do with your business is make your customers feel engaged. It's more so just saying something. We always could say something. How many times we raised our hand in class, um, say something in a business meeting, mention something to your boss or supervisor, say something else within your family, and we may not feel engaged, and we feel like, oh my gosh, this is not something that's I want to be a part of anymore. It's very important to feel and make them feel engaged. Acknowledge your client, acknowledge the customer, acknowledge the person that's saying something. And as we continue on, we have a wonderful person to join us. And let me see who we have. Oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. We are just doing great today. Check, check. One, two, three. Can the Queen hear us from across the world?
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. Welcome to all the viewers that are listening in and watching in.
Thank you so very much. Well, first and foremost, it goes without saying, it's an honor, a joy, and a blessing to have you join us today.
Thank
And also the fact that, yes, you're pretty and beautiful as well. But
thank you.
we're here. We brought you in for the intelligence, but I appreciate your time and things. So, first
Thank
and foremost, how was dinner with, excuse me, how was breakfast with the governor today? So to
It
say.
was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was
Okay,
beautiful.
I just wanted to make sure and things like that. Did you happen to mention my name when you closed that deal with the bank? I'm just saying, I could use some.
Of course, of course.
Thank you.
Always look out for my
Okay,
people.
cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. The ATM will accept my card today. All right. Well, I was telling people today about how, first and foremost, of the wonderful event that we're doing and how 2019, 2020, and maybe even longer for some people, we've been all quote unquote doing the best we can. But now we need to turn that mindset from doing our best to make it a success. And also, I was just previously talking about different ways to interacting with our customer engagement. But you've been, I reached out and you've been so kind and wonderful all the time over the years, and said you want to join on. So I want to give everybody everything. We don't want to give the cake right now. But I was
Uh,
wondering if you so mind for those who, first and foremost, for those who are maybe shamefully not familiar with you, could you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. And thank you so much again. And to everyone that is watching in and listening in. I'm Charvette Mitchell, and I hail here from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. And yay! And I am a marketing strategist and coach. I'm an author. I also host a weekly talk radio show that is live streamed in a similar platform such as this, and then also goes into podcast version there. And I'm a conference host as well. And so I'm really focused on working with women entrepreneurs. A few lucky men get sprinkled in as well around their marketing and the visibility of their brand. So how to get more eyes, shined on what you're doing. So that's primarily what I do.
Wow, I think we're missing a few things. I only counted like 7 jobs here.
Yeah.
We got to get to 10. So, but first and foremost, that's a lot of wonderful things. How do you, with all of these different things, how do you get the time management aspect of it going?
You know what? Time management is really day by day. And so it's more of what has to be done today, Thursday, what has to be done tomorrow. So that's how I look at time management. I turned into a planner girl. Those that are familiar with the planner community, I have been adopted into the planner community. So although I do have Google and all that kind of stuff, I write out on an actual physical planner every day, kind of like the top priority. So really time management to me is day by day.
Hey, that works. That works. Do you feel sometimes every once in a while be like, oh my gosh, I got too many things on a calendar date and got to move it around?
Yes, absolutely.
So, for the event on the 28th, could you tell us a little bit about what you may be looking to speak about?
Yes. So I'm going to be talking about the must have marketing strategies and tips.
Mm,
And so, marketing, you have to market your business. A lot of people that may be watching and that are planning to attend and buying tickets, you know how to create whatever you create. You know how to provide your service. You know that part, but sometimes people shy away from, okay, I have to tell people about what I do. Yes, people have to know what you do. And so marketing, a lot of us are using platforms like social media that we're on now. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit more than that, but really, what are some of the must have strategies and things that are working right now? Because, we have to evolve, we have to shift. So if we want to go from I'm doing my best, to the next level, then what are the must have things? So really want to talk about marketing.
mm. Well, it's the one we won't go into it, but as you come to age of, oh, please forgive me. Let's say saying I ain't gonna sing it today. I don't want to give everybody, but please, happy birthday to you, by the way, belated.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How does it
I'm
feel to be
celebrating all
41?
year. Feels great. Feels great.
Okay, that's
Hashtag level five. Hashtag level five.
did you get everything you wanted for your birthday?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
We'll work with that. But what is the one thing as you going through the years and age with your business and things? What is the one consistent thing that you have taken through all these years that kept you grounded, that kept your foundation going with your business?
You know what? You actually said it within the question, consistency. That is one thing, consistency. And a lot of times there are people who aren't actually better than you per se. Their service or product isn't better than yours, is that they have been consistent. And
Mm,
so that is the foundation. I'll take the Charvette Mitchell radio show, for instance, which is, one of my marketing channels because my business is a sponsor of the show. I've done that for it's going on 14 years now. Every Tuesday, 6 p.m., no extended breaks other than, the holidays. And so people start stuff, then they fall off. Have you ever experienced it? Like, well, what happened to so and so? You see their Facebook lives and you don't see them. And so, really, for me, consistency. And so, for my clientele, the women that I'm working with, entrepreneurs, accountants, real estate agents, therapists, they're looking for somebody that is consistent, not a fly by night person. Even
Mhm.
when I was in corporate America, I was consistent. I spent 25 years, at one company. And so the consistency really is what people can look back over my track record and feel safe and secure, working with me.
It's one of those things when you said you worked for 25 years. A lot of times these jobs won't let you stay on for 25 years because they want, cheaper and younger and find ways to save money and those type of things. So it's a blessing that you got to stay there on there. And, I can relate. I did, I probably would say stay with the same thing with the brand for a number of years. We're probably maybe year 10, 11. And live and global media, but we did the radio show for about four and a half, somewhere around there. And we transitioned to doing other different things, but it's all been the same brand and consistency with the business, justice, all those different things. So I can
Hmm.
definitely relate. And one of the things I was mentioning to people is that over the years and long before Facebook, before we had MySpace and Black Planet and the Yahoo Google Messengers, all those different things, we had to work on our branding or our image and what are we looking to project. And that's always been a very difficult challenge. It's one of those things where, unfortunately, being a male, some women may not, although you're saying the right things, but not sometimes they would take that, even though you're articulating correctly and speaking all the words, but it's because it's coming from this side of the gender tree versus a female side of the tree. But, one of the things is that we always have to consistently work on our image, you know,
Yes.
and not necessarily trying to be something of who did not. But what was the level of change for you, if any, regarding your image? Because we understand you woke up like this. You got it. But for those who did not have that opportunity, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it really and relates to your audience and your customer. And what is their expectation. And so as you grow and as you evolve, your brand, your visuals, like you said, they grow and they evolve. So I'll just take an example with my photography. So my first headshot was at Sears and Roebuck. You remember, they don't even say Roebuck anymore. I don't, but Sears and Roebuck was, my first headshot, right?
I thought
And
you were going to say Bambergers.
Sears and Roebuck, one picture, that I used for, everything. And then you evolve. And then the next time I had some, photography done by a local photographer. Big shout out to Kevin. And then, I had a few more pictures. And then now, I'm at the place where I do full brand photo shoots and I have quote unquote actors, if you will, in shoots with me. And so you evolve, over the years. And so the main thing is to start. So if it is just saying, what, I know visually what I want to represent, and I want to make sure that the customers that I want to attract look at me and are at least interesting in pausing, make them at least pause to say, well, let me look at this product, let me look at the service. But if your visuals are all over the place or they are dusty and crusty, that's not going to make them pause. So do what you can where you are. But visual branding is one of the quickest ways to actually show that you are at another, at another level when you're able to invest in it. I actually did a video series on, is visual branding, is it worth it? And when do I spend money on visual branding, or when do I rebrand? So those videos are in my Facebook and also on my Instagram.
Well, I want everybody to make sure they go there because, and I tell people all the time, they're quick to just throw money at every single thing. Sometimes you need to hold back on that before the other things in terms of, besides the visual, there's a whole bunch of other things, score things that goes into maintaining, building, maintaining your business. So I tell people all the time, do what you can, but just be clean, you know.
Yeah, focus on making the money.
Yeah, making
Focus on
money
making
and things
money.
like that. There's a plenty of millionaires that's walking into their office in a t-shirt, dirty t-shirt and jeans. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just like you said, focus on the money and things like that, and hopefully you don't, we could be like you that never have to get change, But
Yeah.
but now, for those who may not be familiar in how to, getting all the different things, how can they contact you? And excuse me, let me pause. Let me be fair, be respectful. You have a wonderful event coming up in November as well.
Yeah, I host a conference every year for women entrepreneurs or those who are aspiring, to be in that area. November 4th, 5th, and 6th, we're going to be at the Four Points by Sheraton, the Richmond Airport. Actually, registration just closed. So we are closed out. If you hear this and you know what, inbox me, we can talk. But yeah, I'm excited. It's called the Pop Up Conference. I know this is the pop up. So we just kind of pop up and we've got about 20 speakers over the 3-day period. And so it's going to be amazing. And this is my 6th year doing it. So we're excited.
Oh, so I didn't get the invite to speak. So
It's for ladies. It's for ladies.
you may want to honest perspective from a gentleman. I'm not things. I'm not the bad boy.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, at least this time, do you need any help opening the door? Open and close.
You know what? We do have a volunteer team. We do have a
Okay.
volunteer team.
Okay. Not a problem. So we'll work that out. Thank you for that because, like you said, consistency and B, we are lacking, and some may be offended by this, but oh well. We see a lot of everybody want to do a women's conference. Everybody want to do a whatever conference, and don't have it together. And one of the things I say is, okay, you took your 2-week course on business. That does not mean you're ready to throw a conference together. Sometimes you need to work with people, and for a while, I'm not saying follow the same course of that person, of what they've done, but we all can learn and borrow and things like that from everybody and lean on to gain insight, experience, and find a way to mesh that to fit your image and how you want to project your brand and product and services. But too many people are just jumping out there and things and practicing without a license and towards this. What would you say to people in these situations and when they see you and they say, oh, I can do this. I may not be able to get 20 speakers, but I can go do this. I can go do this and do this. But unwilling to take a pause. And our caveat with that is we have, unfortunately, a lot of women in reality TV businesses, whatever, that all of a sudden I'm just going to pop up and do this event and not paying attention that you got TV money, the whatever is going to try to make it look decent for you, even though you don't know what the heck you're doing. And it's not that simple. And things. So, what do you say to young people, both men and women, about that?
Yeah, for events, it's work. Every butt that ends up in the seat, I work for. And so people kind of think, oh, I'm gonna throw an event and 100 people are going to be there. You're going to work for every seat because there are so many events now. It used to be a time where events weren't that plentiful, so you could fill an event easily because there weren't that many. Now there are events all the time, so people are kind of picking and choosing. So events are work, the marketing is work. But the main thing that I would say is make sure that it is aligned with your business, because why put all this energy and effort and it doesn't align with your business? So I am a proponent of the event should be aligned with your business. Otherwise, and this might be an ouch for those that are watching, this might feel like a sting, then you got to check and see if it's just your ego. If you just want to, if you're throwing an event, you got to check and see if it's your ego. But I'm a proponent of aligning it, outside of nonprofits and ministries, aligning, if you're in business, the event should align clearly to your business.
Right, because it is alignment, and then also there's an issue that people be uh, maybe say have a different way of going about it. Maybe getting some training, maybe working with somebody, maybe start off. So then that way you have some tools. You don't go in it. There's a difference between having a mentor and a coach or something like that.
Yes.
And so when you having that and coaching is helping you developing, but when you have a mentor that also is bringing in the mentors, if you have a good one, it's going to try to help fix you towards where you need to go and align you. And they, once you get to a certain level, they will bring their resources along with you to get that rolling start. So that's where those things that needs to happen.
Yep,
How
I agree.
And we got a young lady coming in, and we're gonna bring her in just to say hi real quickly, so everybody can wave hi. Hello, young lady. We can't hear you. You done muted yourself again. Let's see. Hold on. I think I got you.
Man,
Okay.
technology.
I got you. I got you. We were just finishing up, but I did wanted to be respectful and bring it out in just to say hi. Everybody, please welcome the great queen, my dear. We were just talking about coaches and mentors. Here's mine. And things like that. The wonderful queen, Nikki Curry. How are you doing today?
I am great. Grand rising, good rising to all of you good people. I'm so excited about what's happening next week. Hey, let's do this.
Indeed, indeed. Sometimes, excuse me, Miss Charvette. This is Nikki Curry. Nikki Curry, this is Miss Charvette Mitchell.
Hello. Nice to virtually
Hello,
meet
beautiful
you.
queen. Yes, I know. I think we've been following each other for a few years now.
Yes. In these internet streets, right?
In these internet streets, doing what we do, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, both of y'all got some heels. Working at it. Well, Miss Charvette, if you want to join and stay on, please. But I know you have to go and things like that. She just got finished talking with the governor and the bank, so she got to go make those connections and things.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to seeing everybody at the conference.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Now, today, everybody, I'm honored. Miss Curry, how are you doing today, ma'am?
I am doing fantastic. I am here working in my assignment and making it do what it do.
Well, let me ask you this: Are you happy to be back in the States, or are you in Puerto Rico, or the Philippines, or in London?
See, now you're not supposed to tell the house business, Stephen. See, no, I am in the Hampton
I named
Roads
the
area.
bottom.
I am in the Hampton Roads.
I named the bottom
I
three
am in Virginia. I do quite a bit of traveling. I do. Now that COVID has kind of allowed us to reposition ourselves, I won't say change things, but we had to learn some new ways of maneuvering and so that we can take care of business. So I do travel periodically, almost every month I'm somewhere, either teaching, learning, or providing. So that's what I do.
or receiving, and we understand.
Or receiving, absolutely. And that's the learning part. That's my favorite part.
And that's the part that
Absolutely.
people, as we go throughout these challenges in daily life, people forget to receive, and it's nice to have the money part, but we need to receive that learning, that spiritual, that mentorship, that coaching, those lesson plans. Closing our mouths and opening up our nose and our ears and our eyes, all those different things, smelling the flavors, so we know what's going on in the world.
Right. Right. I totally agree with you on that. I don't care how much money you have, how successful you think you are, or people tell you that you are. You can't do this thing without a mentor. You can't do this thing called life without a coach, a mentor, someone that's going to guide you, someone that can show you the roadblocks, or someone that can keep you from making the mistakes that they've made. I've been in this game, this entrepreneurship game and business world for over 18 years, but actually longer than that. I took a bite out of that entrepreneurship game at the age of 12 years old. So, and I knew I wanted to be a part of business, right? I used to clean houses for a living, so there's nothing I can't do. But the thing is, when I realized at the age of 16 years old that I needed someone to guide me now, of course, my source is the Father God Almighty, right? So big ups to God, right? And then my parents, of course, they were great mentors for that thing called life. But at the same time, when it comes to business, you don't know everything. You got to have guidance. And even if someone is not on your economical status, or they don't have all the material things that you have, it doesn't mean you can't learn something from them. And I've learned that. I have mentors right now that are much younger than me. They've only been in business a short time, but I've learned so much from them. And a lot of them are making way more money than I'm making. So I want to get to know them. I want to know what they know. I want to sit in the rooms that they're sitting in. I want to sit at the table that they're sitting at. Those are the kind of things that I have learned over my 18 years of being in this jungle that you must do. You can't be so proud that you can't learn from other people. And I don't want to keep talking, Stephen, because I know this is just a little introduction, but this is the kind of thing that really fuels my fire, because pay the money to get the knowledge that you need to get.
There are people who are willing.
Spend the time equity. Go ahead, Stephen.
There are people who are working an extra job just to pay that $700 a month for their coaching and mentoring or whatever it may be, your real estate, all those different things to invest. Because if you're going to spend that money, I was always told that don't create a bill unless you're investing into yourself, and that type of thing.
There you go.
And you try to make it.
There you go.
That leads me to my question, and we probably already filled into it, but for those who don't know you and things, which is a shame that they don't, but for those who don't know you on the other side of the maybe Atlantic Ocean, could you please give a brief introduction of yourself?
Whew, loaded question. Well, for those that don't know me, and that's fine, I'm still cheering for you. You don't have to know me. This is good, as long as the right people know me, right? So I've been in this entrepreneur space. Right, exactly. I've been in this entrepreneur space for, like I said earlier, over 18 years legally, right? Legally. I come from the corporate world. Of course, I come from the corporate world. And in the corporate world, my last job, long time ago, I was creating marketing, advertising campaigns, media branding, specialized in branding for the recreational vehicle industry, which is a tough field. I was one of the first Black females to be a part of the national side, to be in the department that held the national accounts. And that's not easy. So my industry was 99.9% white male. So needless to say, in the corporate world, sometimes you got to do what you got to do in order to make your paper. And I did exactly that. And that included even code switching. So I changed my legal name to Nikki Curry, as you know today. And I have built a brand around Nikki Curry, the brand definer, Nikki Curry Media. So fast forward, in the corporate world, I met someone that said, I see a lot of business in you. That's exactly what she said. I want to start a business with you. So we started a business with one pair of shoes. We owned a home-based shoe company. We made so much money part-time on the weekend. We made as much money part-time as we did working for corporate America. And I made six figures in corporate America every year. But I knew there was more for me to do. So I actually was diagnosed with a sickness called fibromyalgia. And it kind of made me stop wanting to work for someone else and wanted to really focus and concentrate on my business. And that's exactly what I did. I opened up a shop directly across from my corporate job. So I would leave my corporate job and go over to my business. And I will put as much time into my business as I did the corporate job. Not a lot of people not willing to do that. Okay? A lot of people not willing to do it, but I knew it was time for me to do something more, to serve more, to help more people, and to give all that I could to make those succeed, those that wanted to succeed. So I specialize in branding. I specialize in media branding. I specialize in authority building. So I am the one that will help you, entrepreneurs, business owners, speakers, coaches, media personalities. I will help you build an authentic brand using the means of marketing, media, and authority building. And a lot of times that's not easy now. And I'm also the founder of the Brand Underdog community. What does that mean? I am the one that will stand up for those that don't have a voice, or they feel like they don't have a voice. They're unheard, they're unseen, and a lot of times they're unheard entrepreneurs. And that's a little bit about Nikki Curry.
Wonderful. I only counted about 5 things. I don't think we got to 10 yet. But
Oh, we don't have that much time.
no problem. Not a problem. Not a problem. We understand. So on October 28th, we're hosting an event called From Best to Success, and from 10 to 2:30 p.m. And food will be provided. I'm not going to keep people and not feed you. And we know we're not going to just have some chips
Mm-hmm.
and water, and that was somebody else's suggestion, but I ain't gonna do that. But what we are
Mm.
looking to do is the
Right.
last couple of years and the years before, things have been tough. Even now with supply lines, you know, imaging, branding, just so many different things. Uh, what we're looking to do is try to go from the doing the best that we can to now doing, turning that into success. And I reached out to you because one, not only that you're super intelligent and full of wisdom, and you're a wonderful mother, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to say that you're one of the greatest accomplishments you are, because if people get to see the children that you help raise, and I say children because not just yours but several others, you done kept them out of trouble. So I say that with great
Mm-hmm.
love and appreciation. And what is the direction of your that you're looking to cover on the 28th?
In a nutshell, I want to talk about success is not behind a gated community.
Mm,
Success can be, success is not just for the privileged or just for a select few. Success can be for you, me, Mr. Joe, Miss Lucy, Dr. Phil, whatever. Success, it just depends on what do you define success. How do you define success in your book? So, and I want to talk about that, and I want to get a little deep. I want to get a little deep. I may touch on a little branding and all of that good stuff, but I want to get something that bothers me. And I always tell my clients, one of the things that you should go after, one of the things you should teach or learn how to monetize is that one thing that ticks you off. I use another word, but you know how that is. Yeah. What is that one thing that ticks you off? What is that thing that breaks your heart? What is that one thing that just makes you go, That's what I want to talk about, because we're in a different time, y'all. We are there's money out here, there's success out here, but it's not the way you think. You're going about it the wrong way. You're going about it the wrong way. And a lot of us, we're falling into that rabbit hole where we think we don't need help. We think we can just try this, try that. We're chasing the bright, shiny objects, and we're not getting anywhere. I want to show you how to define where you should be planted, how you can make people come to you based on who you are and why you are here on this earth. That's what I want to do. Success is not behind a gated community. It is not. It is not. It is not. It is not. It is yours. It is your divine purpose if you want it. If you
mm,
want it.
mm. Oh, Lord, we in trouble. We are in so much trouble. We need to get a separate notebook on that one. I just want to let everybody know. Get a separate. One of the things I wanted to hit you with real quick, and I know you get busy because you got to catch another flight out soon. So, I just want to know,
Deadline.
yeah, are you going on your jet or are you going to take first class with an airline?
I like how you think, Stephen. I like how you think.
I'm going to
I'm
ask
manifesting
you.
all of that, man.
Hey, this is what I've been preaching. This is going to be a positive manifestation for us all. I could care less. I tell people all the time, we may not agree, but don't block the success of another person, because all you're doing at the end of the day, you're
There you
blocking.
go.
Yes. I wanted to touch on two quick things. One, you've always mentioned about that, your next stage of success will be on you willing to come out your comfort zone. And
Mm-hmm.
the other aspect of that is being standing your ground, which you always
Mm.
get got on me to make sure that I'm doing. Regardless, stand your ground. Learn, but stand your ground. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
easily changeable, then
Mm-hmm.
you're changeable for anything. Could you? And today we have so much going on, and not just in social media, but just in our everyday lives and how we conduct ourselves. And we're finding it. People in general are finding it difficult to come out the comfort zone because with so much going on, we're just going to run to what we know. But that's also the
Mm-hmm.
same that got us in trouble in the first place, or preventing it, block
Right.
adding the barriers. You know, the man upstairs is removing these barrels and you just setting them back up in front of you. So,
Right.
what is that we could say, and especially to women of color, how can we stop?
How can we say that one more time? How can we?
How can we stop sabotaging ourselves by not stepping out of our comfort zone?
Well, the first thing you have to do is be willing to. You have to change your mindset. Everything starts here. Everything starts with the mindset. Like the old parable. If you can see it, if you can believe it, if you can see it, you can believe it. You can do it, right? It starts here. And that's not as easy as it sounds. It's not really that easy. However, you have to give yourself permission to do it. And the other thing is, as Black and brown people, we're too comfortable. We're too complacent. And then we complain about everything else and everyone else. But what are you doing to own your space in this world? What are
Mm,
you doing? See, the thing is, we're waiting on permission, and permission has already been granted. Permission is granted. Permission is granted. Okay. The bottom line is you got to get uncomfortable. You got to push yourself. No one should have to motivate you. You should motivate yourself. And your why should motivate you. The why of why you're doing what you're doing, your why, what and when and where, all of that should motivate you. But your why is a key factor. Why do you want to be a success? Why do you want to change this? Go back to that thing I just said. What is that thing that ticks you off? What is that thing that pisses you off, that makes you so angry? That should be a why in there that makes you want to be a change agent. We got to
mm,
step up. And there's a little exercise that we can do. It's called doing something bold every day, whether it's online or offline.
mm.
And the caveat to all of this of what I'm saying, the caveat to all of this of what I'm saying, the reason why you're not doing what you're supposed to do, or the reason why you are so comfortable and you stand in that space of comfortability, is because you're afraid of being judged. So many of us are afraid of being judged. That's why we don't work in our assignment. That's why we don't do what we do. And I'm guilty of that. I've been there, done that. Until I realized that my space, my little lane is to help those that feel like they don't have a chance. They've always been told that you're not good enough, that you're not ready, you shouldn't have, you shouldn't be, you shouldn't do. That's why so many people settle on so little, because a lot of times we've been told at a young age. I know I was told that you'll never be anything, you'll never be anybody. Oh, don't get me to
And we
preaching, Stephen.
we're so quick to tell
Mm.
that to women, just take what a man and this, that, and the other, and deal with it.
And settle. Right. Don't you ever
And,
settle. Don't you ever settle.
and and when I tell women, and when it comes to settling, no one says, "Okay, I got to settle. I'm gonna get get what you want," but they ain't gonna. Nothing's out there perfect, and nothing's gonna be the whole 100%. But get what that's out there that's gonna be work with you and protect you and things like that. The ones that's
Right.
crying with you is gonna be the ones that's gonna be there to support. In most cases anyway.
That's right.
It's always gonna be there. My last question to you is: as a woman of color, we are seeing a interesting dynamic that unfortunately has been maintaining where, and I mentioned something similar to Miss Charvette, and how people watch something on TV, especially the reality
Mm-hmm.
shows, women, and they may be an actress, star, or just, a
Uh-oh.
well kept um, wife or girlfriend, what have you. But then they sit there and say, they jump up and say, I'm going to do this. Next day, you think, they don't have anything related, skills, background, or anything related to it. And they just pop up and want to do this and they expect stuff to happen. And it doesn't work that way. And I remind them, and I'm saying this especially for both our experiences in the TV and movie world, that their job is to, regardless of how silly, stupid, or whatever it is, their job is to make it look good because they need it, their ratings or what have you. But in reality, it does not really work like that. What do you say
Right.
to women and men? But in today's, now that we're seeing an uptick in I'm not going to speak positivity in the growth of women, and especially women of color, that's having businesses and things, but we're seeing people operating out of order, operating without a license. We can't throw a fashion show in every single thing. You need to pay attention to. You can't have your cousin, sister, auntie up in front of answering the doors, knowing they can't speak or dang. All these different things, everybody can't rock the blonde wig and whatever else you want, hot pants, just because you saw it on a reality show. I can do it too. That's not the level of strength that they're talking about. When they saying "get it, boo," "get it, your girl," they sitting there laughing at you behind the back. What do you say to women in this situation?
I would say to those men and women that operate in that caliber or in that way, I would say, remember, attention comes with a price. I'm gonna drop the mic on that one. Okay,
Mm,
attention does come with the price. Now, it's okay to be seen. It's okay to be known. It's okay to be in the limelight, in the spotlight. But make sure you're ready for everything that comes after you receive that attention or visibility. Now, I'm an expert in visibility. I mean, I create shine. I sell shine, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to sell shine that's not authentic. Now we're all different. We all have talents. We all have gifts. We have all of that. But sometimes when you're working in a place of you're trying to be seen, it backfires on you. You're trying to be seen without providing any kind of value to others. It's not going to work. It may work temporarily or momentarily, but it's not going to work forever in a day. It's not. I promise you this. And I've been in this game for a long time. And like I said, I sell shine. I create shine. That's what I do. And I love doing it for those that deserve it. So if you want to be on that stage, build your uh-oh, build your stage with authenticity. Oh, I can't even talk today. Authenticity. Build that stage where people that can relate to you, they see you, they love you, they trust you. Build your community around the real you. That's what I'm saying. Build that community around those people that get what you're saying. You don't have to be the best at this and you don't have to be number one, but be the real you, because that attention will come with the price.
mm, mm, mm. What do you tell me? Know your tribe.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Know your tribe, know your people, be you. Be you.
Mm. Miss Curry, excuse me, Queen Curry. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are
Uh, for,
welcome.
for those who are looking to try to get in contact with you and say, you know what, I need this lesson. Heck, not for my daughter, I need it for myself. Um, how can someone get in contact with
Well, I am on every social media platform, but the main platforms you will see me as Nikki Curry Media, on Instagram and on Facebook. But I'm also under Brand Definer. That is my moniker. That's BRANDDEFINER underscore Nikki Curry, Brand Definer. Or you can also tap into my community, the Brand Underdog community. Just go right there. I got a free kit for you, a free e-guide that will help you figure out why you exist and how to let other people know you exist. Go to
you?
brandunderdogcommunity.com. Okay. And I'm right there.
Amen. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Y'all go ahead and get ready to come on out next week. Let's do this. Let's have some fun.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Next up, everybody, we are going to have, it's going to come up around 10:30, Mr. Coach Ellis, and from the rules. And he has a variety of, in transformational conversations, excuse me. He has a variety of information, and he's also will be speaking at the event. But his arrival time is going to be around 10:30. So in the meantime, there are some other positive things I want to share, but there are a couple of videos I want to play. And, these videos are going to be about business, encouraging you, motivating you, and so much more. Please don't log off. Stay right there, and we're going to be right back. All right? And leave some comments, leave some messages. So let us know what you think.
I remember my grandma's favorite story was about how everything cost 2 cents when she was young. But now, everything constantly got more expensive. And it was all because of the government. These uneducated pigs didn't know how to control prices. And when I was privileged enough to hear the story, her complaining would last for hours and hours. And that's exactly what reactive people do. They always focus on the things that they cannot control. It's not possible that a concept like inflation would exist. And if it did, it's impossible that they wouldn't know about it. On the other hand, proactive people realize, look, even if my complaining were completely objective, it doesn't help me. So I'm going to focus on what I can control. If a proactive person owns a business where he sells a product, instead of focusing on how people these days don't appreciate good products anymore and how the government has horrible regulations, he focuses on how can I improve my product so my customers can't live without it. Do you realize how much responsibility, how much dedication, how much hard work comes along with asking that question? And what do you think our effort minimizing brain is going to pick as default? And that is exactly why most people focus on the things that they cannot control rather than focusing on the things that they can. Habit number 1 is be proactive. Now, imagine you're at a funeral, but this one's different from all the funerals you've ever been to. You're standing over the casket and you see yourself. What do you have to say about yourself? This is one of the most powerful questions you could ask. Are you doing the things in your life which are aligned with what you want to be able to say? Do you want to say that you are a good spouse? If that's the case, how does coming home and instantly being negative towards your spouse affect that? Do you want to be remembered as a person who added value to society? If that's the case, are you doing the things that will allow you to say that, or are you scared of failure and choose comfortable mediocrity instead? Almost every one of us will have to readjust how we live when we ask this question. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Now, if I were to ask you, what are the most important things to you? The most common answers I would get would be either your well-being or your relationships, your family, your spouse, your children. You would never ever say organizing papers or watching TV. But how many of us spend more time organizing papers and watching TV than planning our nutrition and going to the gym or cultivating a healthy family environment? There's a horrible disconnect between what we say and how we actually allocate our time. Habit number 3 is put first things first. Now, imagine you're an author and I'm an author, and we both write interesting books, and we both have access to an audience of about 100,000 people. I read your book and I love it, so I decide to share it with my audience, and as a result, you now have thousands of people buying your book and reading your ideas. You see this and think, who is this guy? Let me take a look at his book. You start reading my book and think I have ideas that are valuable, so you decide to share it with your audience. And as a result, I now have thousands of people buying my book and reading my ideas. Notice how different this is from my creating a little creepy Amazon account, finding your book and leaving a bad review, hoping that this will deter a few people from buying your book, which will in turn somehow get them to buy my book. Habit number 4 is think win-win. Stop thinking of everything as a zero-sum game. For you to win, another person does not have to lose. Something I want my viewers to do is to subscribe to my channel. But you will never hear me say, well, I worked really hard, guys. I dedicated so many hours to this. Please subscribe. Look, who cares if I worked hard? Who cares if I've spent days creating this video? The real questions are, does it offer value to you? And why should you dedicate your time to subscribing when you could be doing anything else that you want? Habit number 5 is something that I try to use every single day with every interaction that I have and with every comment that I reply to, and it is this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Now, imagine there are 2 people and a tree with 5 apples on it. They're both too short to reach the apples, but if one of them sits on the other's shoulders, he can reach all 5 of the apples. This is called synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that you can't achieve this with everyone, but you should always be looking for opportunities to create synergy. With every synergistic opportunity you create, you can gather many more apples than you otherwise would by yourself. Habit number 6 is synergize. A man has been trying to cut down a tree for hours, and after a while his neighbor can't take it anymore, goes over and says, you know, if you sharpen the saw, you'll be able to cut it down faster. And the man replies, but sharpening the saw is going to take time. Now, we might laugh at this story, but we do the same thing all the time. We can't find 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week to go to the gym. Our health deteriorates to a point where we're physically incapable of being effective. We can't read a book for 15 minutes a day and mentally stimulate ourselves. No, these things take too much time. And then we have the audacity to ask for little tips and tricks on how to be effective. It's like telling your engineer, don't worry about the foundation, where can we get the magic bricks that will float in the air? Habit number 7 is sharpen the saw. And these are the 7 habits of highly effective people by Stephen Covey. I want you to imagine 2 people. The first man wakes up and does his usual routine before work, and it's all a blur. He goes to work, and when he comes home, he isn't even really conscious of what he did. He starts eating the junk food he bought on his way home and watches TV while his wife tries to talk to him. Now, imagine another man. He wakes up and tells his wife how thankful he is for their life. He drives over to his business and is passionately working to build it into something great. He comes home and he and his wife have dinner together while they stay present to the moment with each other. Out of these 2 people, which one do you think is going to have higher self-esteem? The first pillar is the practice of living consciously. Lately, my hair has been thinning. What I haven't done is this. How come John's hair isn't thinning? How come John has better genetics? Oh, and did I mention that John is also 6'4"? Okay, the reason I haven't done that is because that's a game you can't win. I promise you. I don't care who you are, even John can't win that game. What I have done is what anyone who's practiced building self-esteem in their life would do, and it is this. Improve what you can change and learn to accept what you can't. Improve what you can change and learn to accept what you can't. Now, let me address a common issue. There are people who think that self-acceptance somehow goes against self-improvement. It doesn't. In fact, self-improvement can only follow self-acceptance. If I didn't accept that my hair was thinning, I wouldn't start researching what the right haircut needs to look like for me, and I would end up looking like Bobby Charlton. The second pillar is the practice of self-acceptance. I know a lot of people who are so physically unfit that it jeopardizes the most important things in their life, like their health and their relationships. And when they get confronted about it, a lot of these people have learned a little trick that has been really trending lately. Apparently, everyone I know who is unhealthy because of a medical condition. Now, let me just be clear that I'm not saying that these conditions don't exist. I'm just saying that 19 out of 20 of these people don't have it. If you do not exercise, if you do not eat healthy, you probably shouldn't be going around telling people how you're overweight and unhealthy because of a medical condition. Yeah, they might treat you like you're the victim, but guess what? The only reason they sympathize with you is because the last thing they care about is whether you're taking care of yourself or not. The third pillar is the practice of self-responsibility. I don't know of a single person who doesn't take responsibility, loves playing the victim, and also has high self-esteem. If I had a kid and I could only teach him one thing before he went to college, it would be how to stay authentic to his true self under pressure. Other than special occasions with my girlfriend where I'll have some champagne, I don't drink. I haven't found that to be something of value to my life. When I was in college, I would go out with my friends and there was always that thing of, come on, let's get drunk. And I was bad at a lot of things, but the one thing I was really good at was being really grounded in what I believed in. In fact, in almost every case, it turned into guys having respect for it and girls being attracted to it. Now again, I didn't say I sort of believed in it. It was fully standing for what I believed in, 100% unapologetic, and if that was a problem, everyone always knew I could just leave and go have fun somewhere else. I wasn't half-assing anything. The fourth pillar is the practice of self-assertiveness. Now, let me make it clear that asserting yourself doesn't mean lacking social awareness or being pushy. I didn't go to a party where I knew people would be drinking and start converting and preaching. Don't be stupid with this, it depends on the context. I'm going to act a little differently if I'm in a classroom environment than if I'm around friends. But I'm not going to go against my authentic self in either situation. If you meet an entrepreneur who is passionate about his business, and if you also meet a person who is indifferent towards his regular job, the entrepreneur will almost always have higher self-esteem. Why is that? Because the entrepreneur is the modern-day warrior. Just like the warrior has a strong sense of purpose and lives to conquer, so does the entrepreneur. He has higher self-esteem because he lives with a purpose. The fifth pillar is the practice of living purposefully. And finally, the sixth pillar, the practice of personal integrity. Notice how I said personal integrity, not someone else's integrity. I went to a military academy and there were thousands of rules I had to follow, and I broke most of them, and it didn't bother me at all or affect my self-esteem in any way because those weren't the things that went against what I believed in. But if I act against what I believe in, my inner voice will tell me how I'm worthless over and over again. And only I will know, but when it comes to self-esteem, my inner voice is the one that matters the most. You can't have the voice in your head telling you how worthless you are and build self-esteem at the same time. And these are the 6 pillars of self-esteem by Nathaniel Branden. Notice how each pillar starts with the practice of. Self-esteem is not something you build by reading a book or watching a video. It is something you build by constant practice for the rest of your life.
over and over again. We're all going to deal with failures all over again, but it's how we think about those moments in that moment. So I've kind of trained my brain to allow myself to be upset when I'm heartbroken, and allow myself to feel failure, but not be down in the dumps about it for too long. Getting efficiently means we're hurt. How can we efficiently learn a lesson in this moment so that the next time you will be heartbroken, which you will be, it's inevitable, you're better equipped to deal with it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Impact Theory. Our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the people and ideas that will help you actually execute on your dreams. All right, today's guest is a comedian, actress, entertainer, New York Times best-selling author, and one of the biggest YouTube stars on the planet. With over 2.5 billion views to her name and a combined subscriber count of over 30 million, it's not hard to see why Forbes magazine named her the #1 influencer in the entertainment category. Her rise to superstardom, however, was anything but obvious. Her first video on YouTube only received 70 total views, and it took her the better part of a decade of serving her viewers her signature brand of hilarious positivity to rise to the top. Her determination, hard work, and blinding commitment to her fans, however, paid off big time, and Forbes recently estimated her annual income at over $10 million, making her the top-earning female on YouTube. She's also collaborated with some of the biggest stars in the world, including Will Smith, Bill Gates, Zendaya, Selena Gomez, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And proving that she's bankable beyond YouTube, she's also landed roles in the major motion pictures Bad Moms, Ice Age: Collision Course, and HBO's Fahrenheit 451. Her reach even extends beyond entertainment. In 2017, she was appointed UNICEF's Global Goodwill Ambassador, and her female empowerment initiative, Girl Love, was backed by Michelle Obama. And as if that wasn't enough, she's also a proven entrepreneur who has launched her own lipstick with makeup juggernaut Smashbox and done brand partnerships with global giants such as Coca-Cola, Pantene, and Calvin Klein. So please, help me in welcoming the woman Verve magazine called a pop culture superhero, the superwoman herself, Lilly Singh.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Can you do my intros all the time?
That's the plan.
That was the best thing. I was standing there and I was like, let's keep going. This is really good.
Well, we could have kept going. It's
thanks.
really insane what you've done with a platform that started out as unknown pretty much back when you started. YouTube was not like a future career thing like it is now, which is weird in and of itself.
Right.
But also that it was born of the Depression and trying to like kickstart and do something that was going to shake you out of that. How did you begin that process of building something? What does the march to success start with?
Yeah, for me, honestly, it was unplanned. So it wasn't, I think right now we're in a time where a lot of creators think YouTube is a very sustainable platform and I want to be a YouTuber, so let me be rich and famous on YouTube. When I started in 2010, that was not a thing. You know, I was the last person to catch on to YouTube. All my friends were watching this thing and I was like, what are you guys wasting your time with on this video platform thing? It's going to disappear. And I spontaneously one day posted a video, not because I thought it could be my job, not because I thought I could make money from it, but literally because I was sad. So the story is that I was getting my psychology degree and I wasn't passionate about it. You know, I was doing everything my sister had done before me and I was following her footsteps blindly. And after I graduated, my dad was like, great, now get your master's degree. And I was like, okay, I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm not passionate about any of these things. And so in that little funk, I discovered YouTube. It's kind of like the stars aligning perfectly. And I posted a first video really spontaneously. It was a spoken word piece about religion. It was very, very, very bad. And it got 70 views. And I think I just fell in love with having a goal during that downtime and learning something new, something I wasn't trained at. You know, psychology doesn't really help that much with learning how to use a camera. And so I had to make it up as I went along. And it was very exciting for me.
Speaking of making it up as you go along, so your book, How to Be a Bouse.
Yeah, nailed the pronunciation. I know you were nervous. Everyone's nervous.
Right?
Like how to be a...
You got to practice.
You nailed it.
Times.
You nailed it.
And reading the book, I was impressed because it's really good. And so that I hope people really pick it up. It got a lot of stuff that's incredibly usable. And in it, you were describing what a bouse is exactly.
Nailed it again.
The whole time. I got you. And what I loved about it, there was something in it so surprising, and I wanted to ask you about it. And you said that a boss is somebody that is hurt efficiently.
Yes.
And I thought, whoa, what does that mean? How does one?
Yeah, it's kind of another way of saying it is that there's no failures, there's lessons. I mean, that's another way of putting it. But it's just this idea of when I reflect back in my life, and I think about all the times I really became a better person or a smarter person, it's because of something that was very hurtful or painful or an unpleasant experience. And now I think very often in the future now when I'm through those experiences, that's inevitable. We're all gonna get heartbroken over and over again. We're all gonna deal with failures all over again. But it's how we think about those moments in that moment. So I've kind of trained my brain to allow myself to be upset when I'm heartbroken, and allow myself to feel failure, but not be down in the dumps about it for too long. Not be like, oh, well, I'm worthless, or oh, well, this is just how it's meant to be and the world's against me. Getting hurt efficiently means we're hurt. How can we efficiently learn a lesson in this moment? What could I have done differently? What could I have expected differently? How could I have reacted differently? So that the next time you will be heartbroken, which you will be, it's inevitable, you're better equipped to deal with it.
So you've got a lot of codifications, ways of conceptualizing life and how things are and how you should react to them. You talk about getting control of your mind. Where did you begin to put all of this stuff together, and what are some of the really important parts of your code of beliefs?
You know, it was funny. When I was writing my book and I was sitting in my room all alone, I thought, oh my God, I think I'm really smart. Honestly, I was writing all this stuff because like these are all things I've done in my life and experiences I've had. But it wasn't until I was compiling them in a book that I thought, oh, these are just organized lessons of my life. And so the book writing experience was liberating for me and very educational for me as well. And I'm so glad that people that read it feel the same way. But the code honestly came from being unhappy. That's the truth. I think I learned how to be happy because I know what unhappiness felt like. And I was able to dissect all the reasons I was unhappy, you know, all the reasons, one of them, blindly following my sister, doing what she was doing, listening to everyone else except myself, not paying attention to all the signs my mind and body were giving me saying, we're not doing the right thing. And I think having so much experience in that dark phase really helps you become better, because how can you become better if you don't know what the worst version of yourself is?
And what are some of those signs of the mind and body? What do they look like? What do they feel like? Because I think this is something that people struggle with a lot.
Yeah, people often ask me, they watch my vlogs, my second vlog channel, where I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff in a day. You know, when today, for example, I already had 2 meetings, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna prep for a shoot. I do so many things in a day. And people are like, how do you do this? Like, what is the trick? It's because I really love what I do and I'm really passionate about what I do. And I think one of the signs my body and mind were giving me before is that I would get lazy really quickly. I would get tired really, really quickly. I would cut corners and come up with little justifications as to why that was okay. Like I would be studying for my psych stuff and being like, oh, well, like, you know, is this section really important? Probably not, you know, we'll just skim this over. I don't do that with what I'm doing right now. I'm really thorough. And I think that's a sign of doing the right thing. Of course, if I'm real, we don't always have that luxury. You know, we don't have the luxury of doing what we want to do all the time. So it's important to kind of pay your dues in that way. The first video I made sucked. It's totally sucked. My body wasn't like, this is the right thing to do. You know, I had to pay my dues and get better at it. But I think you shouldn't just not try because you have to pay your dues.
I want to talk about that. So what I love in that, and you've got the whole thing of take the stairs over the escalator, and that your whole path to success has been the stairs. It's been the long grind. It's been the slow build, which is amazing. And you talk about that creates a much better foundation. So if this is a process,
really read the book. I'm so impressed.
Wow.
This is like more than like a little synopsis you read. This is very good.
Yes.
So you should subscribe.
Well, thank you. And what I really want to know, so if this is a process, like, okay, so I begin to recognize the things that are making me tired, fatigue, and these are signs that I'm not on the right path. But I know the next question is going to be, so how do I find the right path? What is that process?
Yeah, you know, for me, I went through this phase where I just stopped saying no to things. So when I first started YouTube, I thought, okay, I'm opening the gates up to this new platform and this new type of creation I've never done before. But I've also started going to shows more often. I started to meet different types of people. I think a big part of finding out what's right for you is stop confining yourself to a path that you've been convinced is the path. What I'm doing right now is nowhere on the path for a young Indian girl that's a part of my family. Like, this is nowhere on the path. It was very much so go to school and get married and have kids, and that's a success. If you're able to have those kids and give my mom some grandkids, you're successful. And I think it's about really stepping outside of that and exploring, whether that's in school and taking classes that you might not take at first glance, whether it's going and experiencing different types of arts, meeting different types of people, making new friends. I think there's so much out there that you don't even know exists. And I'm a testament to that. I make videos on the internet. Ask my mom if she thought that could have been a job when she was growing up. So I think it's all about just really getting out there and seeing what's available.
And so then what are the signs that somebody should look for to know that, okay, this is something that resonates?
I think, I love sleep. I just need to emphasize, I love sleep. But there's some mornings when I wake up and I'm like, I don't even care how tired I am. I'm so excited about this day. So I think being excited to wake up. Also, you'll just see it in your energy, I think, as well. The little pep in your step I have when I'm walking to set is really telling. Also, the people you surround yourself with. I think when you start to get surrounded by people, and my team is a great example of this, that really bring out the best in you, and you feel yourself growing and learning, and maybe you're a little more patient or a little more creative, or you think about things a little differently. Any type of evolution like that, I think, is definitely signs you're doing the right thing. This entire career path has been everything but comfortable. No part of it's comfortable. So even on the days when I come home and I think, that was horrible, that audition was horrible, I can literally feel part of me evolving as like, okay, but you did it, and now you know for the next one what to do. You'll know what to expect for the next one. And those scary things are all signs that you're doing the right thing because you're growing.
That's really interesting. And the concept of getting outside of your comfort zone, I know that's really big for you. How do you push yourself to do that? And how do you make sure that you're getting something out of it? Because I'll give you like a real fear that I have for people, because it's exactly what happened to me. Mm-hmm. So I forced myself out of my comfort zone. Same thing. I know that famous quote, like your dream world's just on the other side of your comfort and all that. So I put myself into business. I was learning it. I was always behind. I always was embarrassing myself and looking stupid. And so as I was gaining skills, I was also gaining a massive amount of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And so how do people make the most of those moments of discomfort?
Well, I'm happy that you touched on anxiety, because it's a real thing. And a lot of being an entrepreneur is stressful, and it does take a toll on your body, your mind, and your health. And so something I believe to be equally as productive as work is meditation and taking some time to recover. I have something called Rejuvenation Sunday. I mean, it's in my calendar. It prompts up sometimes on that Sunday. I'm like, need to even work, but it's in my calendar and it goes off every Sunday. I think taking those times to actually consolidate those lessons and resetting yourself is very, very important, because at the end of the day, we are beings that get tired and we wear down. And I think that's important. But making the most out of stepping out of your comfort zone, I have this thing where I like to visualize things. I know, because it's easy to talk about all of these things and then talk about Tumblr quotes and like, oh, cool, success. But when you're actually down to it, it's hard. It's hard walking into an audition, for example, and then doing really badly and going home and thinking, well, I stepped out of my comfort zone, so I should be happy. That's not a practical thing that's going to happen. You're going to go home, you're going to be sad, you're going to eat the ice cream. I've done it all the time. But I think visualizing, like, okay, this is me, this is my goal. And I literally do this with my hands every time I have a failure. This is me, this is the goal. There is nothing in between there. I need to create what is in between there. Whether I do really well or really bad, that's going to be a step. And I think visualizing every failure as a little stone towards where you need to go is really helpful.
You talk really powerfully about ownership and taking owning your mistakes. So in those moments where you've just fallen on your face and you're feeling uber shitty and you want to go eat the bowl of ice cream, or maybe you're knee deep in the Haagen-Dazs, how do you begin to like get yourself out of that, to tell yourself something that's ownership based, that's like, this was me, I created this situation? And so the reason I'm so big on ownership is because I'm obsessed with efficiency. And I just feel like it's so much more efficient to take ownership for things than to not. Because if you don't take ownership for something, who's going to fix it? Then it's just hanging there in the air, this unsolved problem that no one's addressing. When you take ownership for a mistake or a decision or something you did, not even a mistake, maybe a bad audition you did, you are then able to at least work on it and improve for the next time. If you don't take ownership, like, oh, it was the casting director, oh, it was because I was sick, it was because of whatever, you literally said, okay, I need to change nothing now. It's not in my control. Taking ownership means you've taken control to actually make a different impact the next time you do that thing. So it's just the smart, factual, scientific, efficient thing to do. And when you take that control, how do you keep it from damaging your sense of self? Oh yeah, that's a tough one. This is where the ice cream helps as well. Here's the thing. A lot of this, and I'd be lying if I said that I was always super confident and always, feeling myself. I'm not. I have days where I'm super low and I'm on a roller coaster just like everybody else.
It's okay to feel crappy sometimes. I think it's important to feel crappy sometimes. Everyone should know what it feels like to feel crappy, because then when you don't feel crappy, like for example, when I was standing there and you were introducing me, you're like, highest paid film. I thought, oh my God, remember when I felt crappy? And it's really important moments when you don't feel crappy. But I would say your self-worth has to come from not only yourself, but your environment. I'm really big on your physical, spiritual, and even the people around you are really important. So when I went through a lot of failures, it was hard to dig myself out when it was me alone in my bedroom and my parents were downstairs. Not because my parents are bad, my parents are lovely, but they had no idea about the world I was in or what I was going through. When I'm with my team and my friends that are kind of not only supportive but can really relate to what you're going through, and it's really helpful. So how do you dig out of that? Obviously, you gotta love yourself. That might be hard. Surround yourself with good people and a good environment. Put sticky notes around your room. Have things that make you happy around your room. My room and my whole home is just it's like a positive rainbow Willy Wonka, amazing. I have a drawer that's just full of Skittles. Like, it's not because I want to eat all this, it's just full of Skittles. Just because opening the drawer makes me really happy. I don't want to see that many Skittles every time I open the drawer.
I so get that.
You know what I mean? So when I'm feeling bad after audition, I just go, there are Skittles. Small things. I have quotes all around my house. I have certain friends that are my go-to friends that, not necessarily because they give the best advice, they're just going to listen, they're going to be there, they're not going to judge me. It's impossible to think you can do these things on your own. You can do a lot of it by yourself, but you're going to reach a point where you're like, I need good people and a good environment to pull myself out of these funks that I get from stepping out of my comfort zone.
That's amazing. And it's super interesting given your context. So now back to your parents, you're surrounded by sister, parents, a whole culture. They all have ideas for where you should be going. And it seems like from the things you say that your family's just like beautiful people that want good things for you. But at the same time, they were pushing you in a direction that wasn't making you happy. So how do you buck against societal trends? How do you push against your parents? Like, how do you build the courage, the self-confidence, maybe it's the vision to live a life that hasn't been lived before?
The simple answer is I had to prove it. Like, there was no fairy tale scenario where I went up to my parents and said, I want to do this. La, let me do this. I'm going to go do this now. They were like, come back here. You have a year to do this. And they literally told me, if you don't get anywhere in a year, you're going to go to grad school. So I had a timeline on my success where I needed to prove in a year I could make something happen in the entertainment industry. Gratefully, that worked out, but not easily. All they wanted to know was my daughter's going to be okay. She's going to be able to sustain for herself, and she's not going to be on the streets, quite bluntly. That's what they wanted. And so I had to prove it. I had to take them to my shows. They saw me perform. I had to, look, here's a check. I got a check. I bought this thing. I bought a camera. I bought this with money. And I had to prove to them that this could become something. Because listen, a lot of our parents, especially mine that are from a different time and place, it's not that they want you to be unhappy. They just don't get it. My mom grew up in a time when, like I said, making videos on the internet, she didn't have the internet. There wasn't even that option. It was literally like, you're going to be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer. Like, that's what we know. And that's all. So they weren't telling me to go to school because they hate me. They were telling me to go to school because they were like, that's what you have to do. What else is there to do? And I had to teach them. And I think there's a learning curve that's really important there.
So you've talked a lot about obsession. And you said you worked relentlessly hard to do that. Do you cultivate that obsession? Like, how do you separate yourself from the people who are really good? How do you become really extraordinary?
It's exactly what you said. You have to be obsessed. And I know the word obsessed has a negative connotation, and rightfully it should a little bit. I think anyone who's really great at something is because they're obsessed. They wake up and they're thinking about it, and throughout their day they're thinking about it, and when they sleep they're thinking about it. In the middle of the night they might wake up thinking about it. That is me with this. Video ideas, I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to wake up and jot something down. Some of my video ideas are little dreams I've had, so like working in my sleep. There is a level of obsession, and when I say that, usually people say, well, that's not really that healthy. And you're right. Some of it is a little unhealthy. Sometimes it does take over my life. Sometimes I do have to draw the line and I say, nope, I need to go meditate in my room. I can't do this. But I don't know of a single successful person that didn't, for at least a little period of time, have that obsession over being successful.
Let me ask you, in those moments where you decide you're going to go meditate, is that based on hours you've spent or how you feel?
How I feel, 100% how I feel, which is more reactive than proactive. So I would love to change that. But I'm very scientific with things. I'm very, like, when I write down my thoughts, I will literally dissect them, figure out what problems they are, come up with solutions, and then write down the solution. So I'm very mechanical. I do believe that humans, we are complex, we have feelings, we have emotions, but I do think when we strip all of that away, there are very easy solutions to a lot of our problems that we make complicated.
Yeah, that kind of process-based self-awareness I find really, really interesting. How much time do you spend doing that?
Depends how I feel. Sometimes it can be like hours, or sometimes it can just be like a quick 30-minute thing I need to do.
So picking up on that, the how you feel thing. So first of all, I'm way an enabler for people that are obsessed. So if being obsessed is bad and it's a drug addiction, I'm like your dealer.
I appreciate that, because I always like say that with a bit of caution, where I'm like, is he gonna say something that he's not okay with this? I don't know.
My thing is either you want an extraordinary life or you don't. And if you want an extraordinary life, you're gonna have to pay an extraordinary price. Like that's just the way life goes. So I'm actually really interested in that. And when I hear you talk about it, I always hear the hedge, and I get it because you live in a world where people are going to make comments, and if you can just eliminate some of that.
I've had videos where I've talked about this. I had a bunch of people that are like, well, that's not healthy, but you're encouraging kids, you're encouraging them not to sleep. And I'm like, no, I sleep. I'm not encouraging them not to sleep, but I do want to realistically tell people that if you want to achieve something at such a level, like it costs a price, because I do fear right now, with all the cute Tumblr quotes and all the, the idea that you're special and you're worth it. Everyone's special and you are worth it, but you need to work for it. Like, it's not gonna, a Tumblr quote of you believing in yourself is not gonna get you success. So I also do fear that the opposite of that is letting kids know, like, yeah, get your sleep and get this and just believe in yourself and you're special and you'll get it done. Like, is that really gonna get them success though? It's that in combination with a lot of hard work. And I think that latter part is never told in a very straightforward, accurate way.
Yeah, I love that. You had a quote that really hit me. I'll paraphrase it. I'll get close.
Yeah.
The universe may like the law of attraction, but it likes a good hustle even more.
That's like word for word what it is, by the way. Please
love
subscribe immediately. That was the word for word what the quote is. Wow.
It's such a good quote, and it's so important for people to understand. And one thing I would love for you to try to capture for people is, and I'll serve this one up because I know you like the hard questions. I've watched your live answers, which are great, by the way. And what is the beautiful part of an obsession? Because I know you don't want, so the reason I kept harping on, do you do it based on time or feeling? And you said always feeling, which means you're in tune. So when you give the advice, you're assuming that person's in tune, that they listen to themselves. And when it's getting unhealthy, you would expect them to stop. But what's that beautiful part of the obsession of going after something extraordinary that you want that young girl or young boy to see and chase?
Honestly, it's purpose. My obsession has given me great purpose. I know what it feels like to wake up and just aimlessly be like, I guess I'm going to go through the motions of my day, and maybe I'll talk to this person, I'll eat these Fruit Loops, cool, I'll do whatever I need to do. Waking up with my obsession is honestly exciting. I get to wake up, I get to make rules and break rules. When you have an obsession, no matter what industry you're in, you get into that mindset where you're like, what else could I do to innovate this? What could I do differently? What could I do that's never been done before? So every day you really feel like you're adding value to the world and adding value to the people around you. That's the beautiful part of obsession. My obsession has led me to 13 million subscribers that watch me and also gain inspiration from what I do. And, I'm hoping the people that surround me every day are also inspired by some of the stuff we do. So it's the chain reaction you cause. That purpose, and you give other people purpose, and now they're going to give someone else purpose. So you lose a little sleep, but look at the result. It's a small cost to pay, I feel. And I love sleep. I need to emphasize that I love sleep. But there's going to be days, on tour is a prime example. On a regular day, how many hours of sleep do you need? And if you're like, I'm rested, I need this many hours of sleep.
6.
Yeah, see, that for me, that's amazing. You're a superhero. Me, if I could choose, 10 hours. I would want 10 hours of sleep. But then on tour, when I'm traveling around the world and performing, there's days where I get 2. And I wake up and I'm like, let's go. Let's do the thing. It's a small cost to pay sometimes for a big result.
I love that, man. And your ability to create energy is extraordinary. And I'm going to reach into your soul because I know you did this on purpose.
Yes.
You filmed a few videos where you were sick or exhausted or whatever, and you would leave 4 frames of your exhaustion at the very end. So you'd be like, yeah, right as you cut the camera at the very end. And I was like, that's so smart, because I can, in that, realize the power statement, which is if you want something in life, you're going to have to create energy. You're not always going to feel like doing it.
Yeah, listen, in addition to entertaining, I do funny stuff. That's primarily what I do. But a lot of what I would like to do, I believe I'm doing, is encouraging the hustle. It's like I'm doing all this funny stuff. It's not a 10-minute video doesn't take 10 minutes. It takes a village and it takes a lot of time. And you're absolutely right. I do that in my vlogs and my main channel videos. I am not shy to let people know how much work this takes. I think that's what makes what I do so special. Because back in the day, traditional, for lack of a better word, celebrities, they were perfect. They were always on and always flawless. I would like to show people a person who works really tired, works really long hours, gets really tired, gets pimples, and that's what it takes to do what I'm doing. It's not just that I show up and everything's glamorous and then I reap all the benefits. That's not what it is. That's not what it is for anybody, but it's not. It's a lot of work. So if you're watching this and you're like, let me dissect this interview, what are the tips and tricks? There's no tips and tricks. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of focused work. And that's the biggest message I can drive home, is that, of course, there's practices and things you can do, but you need to stop making excuses. You need to put your head down and you need to make a plan, and then you need to execute the plan.
I love that.
Word.
Yeah, it's true. And the two things I think stall people out is, one, they're looking for a tip or a trick or a shortcut, which means that they're just coming at it from the wrong way. And then two, nobody does what you just did, which is talk about the beautiful part, the reward, the purpose that you get out of something, which is really, really extraordinary. Talk to me about, this was arguably the most surprising thing that I read in your book. And that was that for somebody who is so vulnerable, you don't always want to show all your vulnerabilities. You want to keep some secrets.
Chapter 2.
Yeah. So
Game of Thrones chapter.
Yeah.
I think I grew up, and I think many people do grow up thinking that a successful relationship, or a right, correct relationship, is one where you are completely transparent with other people. And I'm going to say yes and no to that. I grew up with a very strong mother that had to deal with some challenges in her life, and she wasn't always able to show all of her cards to everyone. And that's something she taught me at a young age. She thought, you can be honest, doesn't mean you have to lie to people, but there's no need to share every detail about your strengths and weaknesses in your life with other people, because you never know where life is going to take you. You never know what that information will be used for. And so it's the same thing when I'm in a meeting. If I'm listening to someone, I've been told very often that I have a poker face in meetings, and that the person doesn't know what I'm thinking. And that's my version of being secretive. I don't want them to know if I'm really, really excited or if I'm super disappointed in what they're saying, because I want time to think about it. And I want to, after this meeting, go back and consolidate my thoughts and then approach it with, tactic. So I don't want to always be so revealing. I think that's important.
I love how much you make moves, right? You calculate, you do things according to a plan. I love that.
Yes and no. I calculate to a plan, but sometimes I also just if I'm feeling something is right, I'm like, this is not part of a plan, but this feels right for me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How often do you override?
It's hard to put a ratio on it. I'd say I do like to be calculated, but on the off chance that there is something that needs to be addressed that's not calculated, I will do so accordingly. Because I still want to have that human instinct in me. I think that's important to not die. Plan, that's good, but I still want to have the ability to be like, I need to act and jump right away on this thing.
What I find interesting about people that have a degree of okay, I know exactly what I'm trying to get from my life. There's really a plan here. There's a roadmap. There's something I'm executing against, is they're just able to accomplish so much more. And then the intriguing part becomes that the ability to believe in the big thing. And you've been really open about just how much you want to accomplish in your life. How have you stepped into owning that, which I think is really, really difficult for everybody and can be almost paralyzing for some women because they're not rewarded for it oftentimes.
Right.
So how have you learned to step into that? What are things that people could take away and implement in their own lives?
I'm glad you said the women part, because I think that's something women really struggle with. I've had this conversation with, I think, a mutual friend of ours, Cassie, as well. And I talk with a lot of my fellow women, and I'm like, okay, we are all bomb. We're doing a lot of cool stuff. Every time we have to talk about it, we're kind of like, oh, okay, let's just beat around the bush a little bit. It's difficult for women. I think we're not praised for that. I've started to care less about that. And the prime reason for that is I have a very good idol, and his name is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I think he is someone who is so successful. And the number one thing I've learned from him is how he shares his success in such a humble way that also validates himself. If you ever just go on his Instagram, it's from a place that's like, this cool stuff is happening and it's really exciting and important for me. So I'm gonna share it because it means a lot to me. but this doesn't make me better than anybody else, and nor does this put me on a pedestal of any type. Not because it's going to alter the way you think about me. I'm just proud of this thing. And so I think we need to change our association, our relationship with our success in that way.
It's interesting. So you talk about taking the GPS deep and really going inside yourself, really figuring out what your issues are, what motivates you. How do people do that? How do they get good at that? How do they get good? Because you even broke it down, like this is level one discovery. Right, exactly. So how do you help people figure out what the realities of those tiers are?
Yeah, so quick summary would be that anything we do, any action we make, I believe we have many layers as to why we made that decision. The top is like, oh, I made this decision, what I tell everybody else of why I made that decision. The second layer is what I tell myself. So say if I took this glass and I broke this glass. What I tell everybody else is like, oh, it slipped, the glass slipped. Then what I tell myself when I dig a little deeper is, oh, I thought it would be funny, so I like broke the glass, okay? But if I dig really, really deep into like, well, the real reason I smashed this glass, it would be because, honestly, I think the segment I was doing really, really bad and I wanted a distraction. That's not true. I think I'm killing this. but for the point of this example, what I'm saying is when you dig really, really deep, we lie to ourselves so often. And that's not the number one, but one of the ways to see this is to really address that. Because people think of lying to other people only. When you think of lying, you think, oh, I lied to my mom, I lied to my boyfriend, I lied to whoever. We lie to ourselves all the time about why we did something, why we said something. Sometimes our instincts can kick in. Like if you ask me an uncomfortable question, I'll respond right away because it's uncomfortable. But what I'm saying to you is not true. If I dig deeper, I understand why I acted that way. It's really important. You need to be in tune with yourself if you want to be successful. I mean, the world, it gets really uncomfortable. Success gets really uncomfortable sometimes. There's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. If you're not truly in tune with your biggest teammate, which is yourself, there's no way you can succeed. You need to know yourself really well. So I encourage everyone to actually write down things like, I made this decision, why did I do that? Write down all the reasons you did it and be real with yourself. Say it out loud in an empty room where no one can hear you, so there's no pressure. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? Were you scared? Were you nervous? And then why? It can go back to your childhood sometimes. It can go back to some horrible experiences you had. But it's better to address it.
Yeah, no, for sure. You talk a lot about loving yourself. So in that process of going in, how do you help yourself, or maybe how do you help other people when they dig deeper and they realize some of their motives are ugly to them, right? That they know that it's coming from an insecurity or something. How do you help them, even in those moments, love themselves, sort of warts and all?
I have this analogy in my book, which is like, listen, when you dig really deep, sometimes you find things that are horrible that can't be fixed. Sometimes you've had a childhood or experience where you're like, I can work really hard on this, but I know this is so embedded in my every molecule of myself that I won't be able to change it. And then my analogy is, all right, then put a bucket under a leaky faucet. If you know it's there, you can at least be really honest about it. And the example I give in the book is I have major trust issues. I will openly admit that. Everyone watching is like, preach, girl, same. I know. You can all relate, but it's when you dig deep down, you'll find the reason for those trust issues is either something you can work on and then hopefully you can fix, or something you simply cannot. And my bucket for that leaky faucet is every relationship I get into, literally I tell them this exact thing. I'm like, listen, I have really big trust issues. If you lie to me, I will not be able to forgive you. I'm telling you right now. That's why I'm single. First dates, that's what I say. But no, but it's true. It's what I say. I say, I want to. It's not that I don't want to forgive you. Every part of me will want to forgive you if you lie, but I will not be able to. I'm openly telling you this right now so that you know if you lie, that's going to be the leaky faucet that comes out. And all you're going to have is a bucket. You're not going to be able to fix it. So it's about addressing it and being honest. And there's no solutions to every problem. That's okay. At least you know the problem. At least the problem isn't that you don't know the problem.
Yeah, for sure. So as people go into this and as they begin to accept themselves, how do they start getting momentum going in a positive direction so that they really do feel love for themselves, that the first thought that they have in the morning isn't one that's negative? How do they, from a process standpoint, make that happen?
For me, there was a period of time where I really didn't love myself. I think it's that time before I started YouTube where if I loved myself, I would have got out of bed. You know, if I loved myself, that's not fair. I guess there's a lot of reasons, but for my personal journey, I guess not to generalize, if I loved myself, I would have had goals at that time. I would have taken better care of myself. I would have spent time with my friends. My change came with not only within, but how I was treating myself outside, like I mentioned. So I stopped putting myself in a dark room. I started opening the curtains. I started to answer my friends' phone calls. I started to talk to people. The first time I ever talked to my parents about anything I was feeling really, really strongly emotionally was when I got out of that depression. Prior to that, for all the years of my life, I'd never had a conversation with my parents that was like, this is what I'm really feeling inside. And so I started to accept that I needed help and I need to talk to people. I even started dressing differently. I was like, these shoes are fun. I'm going to wear these shoes. They just make me happy. And it was making all those small decisions every single day. A lot of positive self-talk as well. I think, even now when I accomplish something, I don't care how many people come up to me and say, congratulations, you did really well. This is a cool thing. When I lie down at bed, I literally hug myself. I'm like, you did really good. That was a really good thing you did today. Even today, with all the people that are validating me, it still means something for me to tell myself, you did a really good job. If I'm having a bad day, this is something I've practiced for years. I will talk to myself as well. If I had a really bad meeting, I'll get into my car and I go, that sucked. It's okay. You know what? We're going to do better next time. And it's just about being your friend. Just like how you would talk to another friend, you got to talk to yourself the same way. And it's a journey. There's no easy solution. There's no now I love myself. It's a process. It's a journey. It's going to be hard, as all things are.
Well, so now let's really make it complicated. So when you mess up, you're going to have an internal critic that's always brutal. But in today's age with social media, and you're like an extreme example of somebody that has to deal with this, but every kid now has to deal with like the one-off tweet about them being fat, ugly, stupid, whatever. How do you encounter something like that and not let it become part of your internal narrative?
Yeah, I think with social media, we really need to understand why people use it the way they use it. I truly believe this should be a class in school because social media is such a big part of everyone's life. When someone writes something on the internet, we need to really put ourselves in their shoes. This is what I literally do. I get a lot of hate comments. I mean, someone just commented saying like I slept with YouTube execs to get my subscribers, and I'm like, who told you? But literally, I just imagine the person sitting there writing this comment, and I think, okay, I didn't write a comment like this to someone today. I didn't wake up and think that I need to write something mean to someone. Why didn't I do that? Let me think. It's because, well, when I'm busy, I'm happy. It doesn't make me happy. Doing that won't make me happy. And I just don't see the need to do that. So why did this person feel the need to do that? So then I put myself in their shoes. Well, clearly they gain something from this, or else people don't do things. Everyone does things because it makes them feel good, or they gain something from it. That's why people smoke, even though they know they're going to get cancer, because it feels good. And so they're gaining something from putting someone else down, which means they're not happy. They're not in a happy place. They're not accomplishing the goals they want to accomplish. I think it's really important at a young age for kids to know that. And when someone writes something on the internet, they're not telling your story, they're telling you theirs. Telling their story of unhappiness and not being where they want to be. And I really believe that. So there's many times where I read a hate comment and I go, oh, I'm going to roast you. And I write something and I literally just delete it because I'm like, I'm not, you have your own issue you're dealing with, and I'm not going to, it's going to be to no benefit to me as well.
I know you talk really interestingly about getting control of your mind. You talked about treating basically life like you're playing Nintendo. Mm. How do you get control of your emotions? How do you get
Nintendo watches, by the way, because I would love a brand deal. Nintendo, if you're watching this, it's in my book. You might as well. I think it goes a little bit back to taking ownership. When you take ownership, it's not like when you're playing Nintendo, you go, oh, Mario died because the thing in the game. No, you killed Mario. Like, just take the ownership. So I think it goes back to you can't control the environment you're in. When you have a really, really bad day, you can't control the other driver that cut you off. You can't control whoever was mean to you. You can't control the fact that you missed the elevator. You can't control any of those things. You can only control yourself. So it's about being more proactive. How do you do that? Well, okay, if a driver's going to cut you off, play some really good music so you're in a good mood. Leave 5 minutes earlier. You know what I mean? If you missed the elevator and you were late, wake up earlier. It's about doing those proactive things. And the simplest example everyone can relate to. What's the most infuriating thing that happens to us every day? Our phone dying. Back in the day, this used to infuriate me. My phone would die, and I'd have to go to a meeting, and I wouldn't know where it was or where to park, and my GPS would die. You know what I did? I played Nintendo. I was like, well, I can't control the phone. I can't control the environment. I can't control the parking of the meeting. You know what I control? Putting a damn charger in my car. And then that's what I did. And then that whole situation was solved. That's a really small example, but we have things like that throughout our entire lives. Or not having the thing you need when you need it, or not getting somewhere on time, not having the conversation you have. There's solutions to all those things if you just take control and figure out what's in your control and stop blaming the environment. And I use Mario because it's a prime example. The platform is not to blame. You can't blame Bowser. You can't blame the Koopa Troopas. It's Mario. You blame Mario. You are Mario.
Those are some good references. So talk to me about your concept of F Plan B.
Yes, F Plan B. I'm sure this is probably a thing in a lot of cultures, not just specific to Indian culture, but my parents always raised me with a huge importance on having a plan and then a plan B. So something to fall back on. And that's very often how my parents viewed a degree as well. I would always be like, but I don't want to do psychology. I don't want to use my psychology degree. I'm never going to do something related to this. And my dad would always be like, it's something to fall back on. But that was always what they thought. You should have a backup plan. I felt that when I decided to take that year to hustle really hard, that backup plan was always in my mind as something to fall back on. So anytime I would work really hard, I would think, oh, well, if I don't figure this out, I have that backup plan. And if this video stuff doesn't work out, then I won't fail because I have that backup plan. But because I was doing that, I think I wasn't putting the 2,000% effort I needed into things because there was always that safety net there. When I officially decided, no, I am not going to do that. I'm going to do what I set out to do, which was do entertainment. And in this year, I'm going to become successful. I started doing things with so much more effort and relentlessness where you could see the difference in the result. And I know that's really scary. And a lot of parents disagree with me when I say this, but I think it's important. I think, kids need to be given credit. I think if they have a plan A and really give it their all and see years and years from now it doesn't go anywhere, they will figure it out. I think kids these days are really smart and they have a lot of options and they have a lot of resources. And the fact that I'm sitting here with the career that I have is a testament to that.
It's interesting. And I loved earlier when you said that there should be a class for figuring some of this stuff out, which is...
I think there should be a class for figuring out the internet and also figuring out just working hard. I honestly, a lot of the things in my book are not things I learned in school. There are, of course, there's classes, there's biology, there's English, all that. There should be a class that's just about work ethic, how to work well, what it means, and also how to work differently. Not everyone learns in the way school is structured. That's something that really drove me crazy at the end of my university career was I can't learn through sitting in this lecture for 3 hours with this professor that's just talking to me. I'm not really applying this information in any such way. I've learned so much being practical in the world and learning things hands-on. And some people are like that. And I think school needs to let them know that's okay. Because a lot of kids leave school thinking, I didn't learn how everyone else learned, so I must be dumb. No, you just might need to learn a different way. And there should be an actual class. Find your way of learning. That's what it should be called.
Yeah, no, I actually think that's really powerful. And I think a lot of people struggle really profoundly with that. Let's talk about Girl Love, the initiative. What is it about? What made you kick it off? What do you hope comes of it?
Well, I'm going to start this conversation by saying, back to your point of what do you do when you fail? How do you get over it? Girl Love is a prime example of a huge failure that I turned into something that was not a failure. So Girl Love was started because I was planning to do a collab with someone that was a really cool actress that's going to remain unnamed. But I was so excited to do this collab with her. And the idea for our collab was the Girl Love Challenge, where we would sit together just like you and I, and we would compliment girls. Because of whatever happened with the studio and the books and the flights, whatever, it couldn't happen to no fault of her own. And that's why I don't like to name her name, because I don't want the internet to make it something it's not. But it never happened. And I was so bummed about it. I really loved this concept of having a Girl Love Challenge, but it never happened. So I was super upset for 3-4 days. I was like, I don't want to make any videos anymore, forget it. Until I was like, you know what? Why don't I just still do it, but with all of my friends? So we made this Girl Love video where we all complimented other women that were very inspiring to us. And it was a huge success. So many news outlets picked it up. Other very notable celebrities, Tyra Banks picked it up, Priyanka Chopra said something about it, and it just became something online, and people were using the hashtag Girl Love. So in my mind, it was just a video that was supposed to happen. But after the success of it, I thought, no, we should make it a movement. So a couple years ago, I decided to make it a full-fledged social good campaign. And Girl Love is aimed at two things. One, from a local level, it's just about letting girls know that it's cool to support other women. Because I feel culturally, that's not encouraged. Everyone's talking about Taylor Swift versus Katy Perry and the argument that girls have in movies and how girls have to fight over guys. And it's not very much so spotlighted that women can support other women. And that's cool. It's not just right, it's cool. Cool being the key word for young girls. And the second part of Girl Love is helping women around the world, whether it's education, whether it's rights, whether it's health. Because a big belief of Girl Love is one woman cannot be successful if women around the world are struggling. I really view humanity like that, even aside from Girl Love. I don't feel that anyone can sit there with a lot of money and fame and think I'm really successful if other humans in the world don't even have water to drink. I think real success is making sure everyone on the planet has those basic needs. So that's what Girl is all about. It's about banding women together and really showing strength and sisterhood.
That's interesting. And so from that, what, like, when you think about creating a social movement or having grand impact, how possible do you think that is?
Here's the thing. I struggled with this a lot. And I think a lot of people are so hesitant to give to causes, whether time or money to causes, because they think, look, what difference is this really going to make in such a big, bad world? My little contribution, what can it do? And I'm going to argue it can do a lot, because impact is not just affecting millions. It's affecting the 1 or 2 people that get impacted with creative solutions. An example I always like to give is in Kenya, one of the places in the Masai Mara where I do a lot of my work, is a really common problem. And that problem is girls don't usually get to go to school because they're too busy fulfilling the demands of the family life. So they have to go and fetch water from a well that's miles away, and they have to spend most of their time doing that. So there's no time to go to school. Now, at first glance, a lot of people are going to be like, well, what are you going to do about that? You can't change the culture. You can't change what needs to happen. They need to drink water. And then a great organization by the name of We came in and were like, well, what if we put the water well at the school? And I was like, that's a really creative solution to a problem which you would have otherwise thought, oh, there is no solution to. So I would say every little contribution, every bit of creative thinking, awareness, time, money does make a difference. There are solutions to most problems, I will say. We might not know what they are, but they exist. We need to be creative and innovative to come up with those solutions. But I do believe solutions exist.
I love that. All right, before I ask my last question.
I have to leave, but I like it here.
Gladly. Very kind. So where can they find you online?
Oh, I mean, where can you not find me online? youtube.com/LillySingh, LILLY. It's 3 L's all together. Sing, SINGH. Instagram, Superwoman II. Same on Twitter. Same on Facebook. What else exists? That's pretty much it that I use. Those are the things. Every Monday and Thursday, I make comedy videos on YouTube, and I vlog every single day on my second channel as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so this will be in the vlog.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And then last but not least, what is the impact you want to have on the world?
The impact I want to have on the world. I think I really want to encourage people to believe that whatever they want to be, even if it doesn't exist, is possible. And that is because my job is so unconventional, and everything I wanted is so different from what I was raised to believe I could have. And if you're creative, if you mix creativity with hustling hard, any job position, anything you want to become is possible. Show people what your value is, and then they'll pay you for your value.
I love that. Lily, thank you so much for being on the show. That was incredible.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to dive into this woman's world. It is absolutely incredible. The content that she puts out is amazing, from the hilarious scripted stuff through to the live stuff that she does, answering people, telling them all kinds of crazy stuff, and often tormenting herself by eating tomatoes and doing all kinds of weird things that she hates to entertain and educate. And I think this is somebody who uniquely understands that you have to entertain before you have the right to educate. And because she does both, her content is insanely powerful. And to see what she's done for the journey of her own life is absolutely breathtaking, from being a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador to going and doing work in Africa to what she's trying to build by touching women's lives all around the world through her Girl Love initiative. And the fact that she literally tours around the world is absolutely incredible. Really trying to be an example for people that you can set your own path. And what I love is that her message is actually real. And so she's not BSing people. She's really telling people the hard truth, which is that you've got to have something that you love, that gives you more energy, that you become obsessed with, and that you're willing to pour your time and energy into to do something extraordinary. And that is a lesson that I think everybody can take something incredibly powerful away from. So while I know 99.9% of you are already following her, hence the numbers, if you're not already, be sure to. You will not regret it. And if you haven't already here, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, my friends, be legendary. Take care. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of this community. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. You're going to get weekly videos on building a growth mindset, cultivating grit, and unlocking your full potential.
Hey, sir. Sorry, I lost power here for a second.